We're going to roll it on.
Okay.
You relax.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday!
It's to it.
All right. So, welcome. My name is Amy Howard, and I am here with
Mr. Amy Howard.
Jean Howard. And we're excited. If you have been following along, we are going through a series of I Hate My Kitchen. And so the purpose of this is to be able to show you don't have to spend a fortune to redo your kitchen and trying to break it out. And we've got it in a series of weeks that we're going through. And last week we went over kitchen cabinets. I want to show you one of the cabinets that we showed you. This is an amazing, can you see this?
Let me hold it.
It's an amazing finish. It's really beautiful. It's got a lot of depth to it. It looks like something that you would get at a very high-end cabinet shop if you had a custom cabinet maker do this for you. And so it's really beautiful. So if you did not see when we were showing you how to do this, go back and watch last week's as we were going over kitchen cabinets. That will help. So this week we are going to be going over painting your tile. And if it's a situation, if you've ever flipped a house, maybe you've got a home that you have been living in a while and you do not like the backsplash, maybe you have ceramic tiles on your counter. We're going to show you a very easy way today in order to be able to have totally new tile. Share with everybody about how much it cost from the last house that we flipped.
So when we, of course, this is not counting the tile itself, but it was a backsplash above the sink and it went between the cabinets. It wasn't a big area. And I believe the labor cost for that was $2,000. And that was using a subcontractor that I use all the time. Chances are it would have been around $3,000 or more if you had had a contractor do it, or you went through a tile store and had their man do it, or woman, their person do that. So it could have been a lot more than that. And so I felt at 2,000, that was a great deal.
So the exciting thing about this is the fact that we want to be able to show you that you've got options. You don't have to tear all your tile out. You don't have to redo it. You've got an opportunity, if using the right tools and the right paint and the products, that you can redo it. And having really ugly tile, we're going to show you one of the things that we're going to go over today. But let's do this. Can you hold this up? And if anybody has this in their house, we're so sorry. We're not saying it's ugly.
It's just about change.
It's just about change. Thank you. That's a good word. All right. So I want to hold that up, and I want to hold this up, and I want to be able to show them. So can you see this? This is the before, and this is the after. We want you to see. So if you're wanting to be able to look at the sheen on this, it's absolutely fabulous. It looks just like ceramic tile. So this is actually kind of porous. Would you not say?
Well,
It's got a little bit of texture to it.
Yeah, it's porcelain.
And we were able to come on top of it with 2 coats of the Luxe Lacquer, and it was able to give us the beautiful white tile that a lot of people want to be able to put in their bathroom as well as their kitchen. So, but the other thing is that we want to be able to show you today is the ability to be able to make decorative tile and to have it where it has depth. Now, part of the questions that we're going to probably get from people, hi, Kathy. And I forgot to say this. As you pop on here, say, hey, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if you've never tuned in before, we're Amy and Jean Howard, and we are the mother maker and the daddy, I guess.
Who's your daddy?
I'm Amy Howard at home. And it's really kind of unusual for owners of companies, people that actually develop and create product, to come on and do lives. But part of our vision and our mission with Amy Howard at Home is to teach you. We love teaching you how to, what we say is craft a beautiful life. We love projects. We love flipping houses. We love decorating. We love when you think about, we've been married 33 years and we've moved, what, 14 times?
Mhm.
But we do that because it's part of our business. It's part of Big Daddy. Tana just named you. I love that, Tana. Big Daddy. That's Gene's name from now on. So we take a lot of pride in showing you. And here's the fun thing, and a lot of you may not realize this, but when we see your projects online and what it is that you're doing, we're like proud parents. We get so excited when we see what somebody has taken what we've taught them and how they've been able to use it in their home and redo it. So that's exciting. All right, so Big Daddy, what we're going to do, we want to take you through it, and we're going to show you the products that we're working with today. Primarily, there are other things that you can do, but they're Lux Lacquer. And this is the color. We have a color card that you can go on the Amy Howard at Home site and order the Lux Lacquer card. And these are actual paint. So they're the exact color that you'll be doing. But here's the fun thing. A lot of people may not know this. A lot of the bathrooms, because oh my gosh, I'll just go into these blues and even these greens. Color tile is in, like bright, yummy colors. And so we have so many great looking greens and blues. I want to be able to show you a process. Do you want to hold this up to let everybody see? A process that we're going to show you today. Now, can you see the depth in this? See how it's not just, doesn't look like a solid color. It's got a lot of depth. We're going to show you how to be able to create this today as well. So, as we always do, we will give you a code, and it's I hate my kitchen, but it's just the letters IHMK 20. So all of the products that we're working with today, you can use that code and you'll be able to get 20% off of all the products that we're working with. All right, so we're going to take you through the process. And two, as you have questions, hey, Judy Jones. No, we're not enjoying the snow. That's why we live in Florida. We're not supposed to have snow, but you're so sweet to ask. I think about you often. All right, so um, as you pop on here again, say hi. And if you share this video and tag some good friends that you know love to craft a beautiful life, your name will go in for a drawing, and we'll be sending out some free Lux Lacquer to the lucky winner. So all you have to do is share the video and tag some good friends. And my thought process is, if you know somebody that hates their tile, maybe they've got old ceramic tile, a tile black splash, you can even use this on brick, depending on what they have in their kitchen that they're trying to redo. Offer to come over and help them do it. It can be a lot of fun. All right, so how cleanable is painted tile? Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, with Lux Lacquer, it just wipes right off. This is so glossy. I mean, nothing sticks to it.
Yeah, the cool thing about, can you see the finish on this? Look at this. It's pretty incredible. Yes. And the answer is, kind of bath tile. Can you use this in a shower? Can you use this where the bathtub is? Absolutely you can. Look at this. Can you see? The hardiness of this and the finish to it, I equate it to, and it's funny when I paint my furniture with this, because this is made from metal, ceramic, wood, is it kind of has the sealant in it that is built in, that it doesn't have ceramic beads. But as far as the feeling of it, it is so easy to clean and it doesn't stain. And so
The polymers.
the polymers in it really makes it very durable and very hardy. So yes, you can use this in a shower. You can use this again, for those of that are just popping on. Will you show the before? And then we're going to actually show you how to start painting this. So here's the before and here's the after. So all right, so without further ado, let's go on and get started, because I also want to show you how to create the decorative tile. Let me move that over here. And if we don't see your questions, just know that we'll go back and we'll be checking it. All right. So I love that question. What do you clean your tile with? T, can we have you bring us over some clean slate? Because I want to have time to show you. Look at the depth in that. Isn't that beautiful? I want to show you how to create this tile. All right. So when you're working with your tile, let's say you're going in and you've got your kitchen. Now, What have we got on the backsplash in our kitchen or on the countertops? We're going to have a lot of grease from cooking, and you're going to want to be able to clean slate it. Now, I will tell you, our waxes and our clean slate, we have people that have all different kinds of paint companies that they use, and they're sold on our clean slate because there's not another product like this on the market. Tell everybody what sets this apart as far as being able to clean their tile before they get started.
Well, back in the day when Amy and I started out, even before Amy, BA, before Amy, I did a lot of refinishing, restoration work with antiques and collectibles. And one of the things when you refinish, you've got to get all of that pledge and liquid gold and wax and all of that
Grease.
and grease
We're talking about
off of that furniture before you start to strip it and refinish it, because they have silicones in it. And those silicones will prevent the lacquer, the stain in the lacquer from adhering and flowing out properly. You'll get what's called fisheye, where the lacquer and the stain, because we used an oil-based a solvent stain, and it would reticulate. And so this is a finisher's grade cleaner to remove all of that, but not leave any surfactants or silicones behind. So they say, well, why can't I use TSP? Why can't I use Crud Cutter? Why can't I just use
this is
mineral
a good. These are good
spirits?
questions.
Mineral spirits or paint thinner. And it's because they have those surfactants and a waxy petroleum base to it that will prevent the adhesion, and it will prevent the smooth flow out of your finishes. So that's what this product does.
Yes.
Is cleans it and gets all those surfactants and silicones out.
So cleaning your tile beforehand, all you need is the clean slate. And I see this question. Good morning from California. Patty, I don't know what part of California that you're in, but I hope you are not anything or anywhere near these fires. But the question is, I wished I could paint my old toilet. You know what? You can paint your old toilet with this Lux lacquer. Can you believe I'm saying that? You can. You can paint your appliances. I painted a toaster with this. You can paint glass. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. So yes, you can use the Lux lacquer on an old toilet. So, all right. So I'm going to go in and turn this down. As you pop on, please say, hey, tell us where you're tuning in from, but we want to be able to actually show you. I'm going to tell you which ones I like better as far as painting them. And the great thing about the Lux lacquer is, in using this on the tile, this has your primer in it, this has your paint in it, and this has your sealant. There are no other products needed to paint your tile. Now, if they have a very absorbent tile,
Porous, let's say,
porous.
that it's an unfinished, like a lot of times the travertines and other marbles, sometimes they're not even honed. They're just, they're just cleaned and that's it. So they're very porous, and what'll happen is it'll just draw that paint in, and you'll be putting a lot of paint, multiple coats to get that coverage. And so we do have a Lux Lacquer primer for that will help seal so that it won't cost you to use so much paint
But if you're dealing with ceramic, if you're dealing with something that is glazed
or sealed.
or sealed, you just go directly into the Lux lacquer, because that is your primer, your paint, and your sealant all in there together. So, all right, so I'm going to go on and turn this down so that way you can see what it is that we're doing. And this is the example of the old tile that we had. And even when you're working on a vertical surface, you can roll this on. Now,
Mhm.
I liked, can we have a sponge brush just to show them? Jean painted the smaller tiles that we have with a sponge brush. And my thought process is, I personally don't like the sponge brush. I like the fact that I can roll it on. It is self-leveling. It gives me a really pretty patina, and that's what I prefer. So that's what we're going to show you today. Now, a lot of times if you're working with the tile and you've got your grout, if you're working with white, just go on and paint over it to where
Oh, yeah, just paint the grout as well.
the grout as well.
Just
So that's
goes
going to
away.
seal all that up. It's gonna go away. Let's say you want to be able to come back and you want to be able to do like this. We're going to show you if you want to be able to create a decorative tile. Um, your base coat is going to be your white, so that's going to give you your grout anyway. Because the only thing that we did, and we're going to show you on these, as far as being able to add the stencil, that you're actually using the lacquer with us. So, all right, so I'll go on and let you base coat that.
Okay. And a couple of just tips on when you're using the Lux lacquer. One thing is not to apply too much,
Yes.
especially on a vertical surface. And the reason being is even on a horizontal flat surface, if you apply too much at one time, as it dries, it'll begin to pucker and crack because it's better to do 2 or 3 thin coats than try to do one heavy coat, especially on a vertical surface. So if you're doing something that's vertical, what's going to happen? The paint's going to start to sag, and then you'll have to go in and do a lot of sanding to repair
Put
that.
that over there so they can just kind of see as far as how you're loading that up. So the key is just two really thin coats. That way you're going to be so happy with the application.
And then another tip on doing this is to apply this in such a way that we don't want to rush this, because what'll happen, it'll create bubbles. So we just want to put this on.
So it's okay that you're going to see maybe some brown showing through.
You might see a little bit. I mean, I think what we'll get is we'll get coverage, but an even coverage. But what you will get is you'll see that coloring.
Right, through it.
Right, it won't totally cover it.
And that's the key, is just not getting too in a hurry, because if you try to roll it on too fast, as Jean said, it will create bubbles. Just to slow down and get one thin coat on, allow this to dry overnight. Now, I will say this. We are working with, this is an enamel. The Lux lacquer, and part of what makes it so hardy and so perfect for you to be able to use in your showers, to be able to use on your backsplashes, to use on your ceramic countertops, whatever. What am I leaving out? Because we're talking about tile today.
Yep, mica, stone, tile.
So, okay, so I'm looking at Nora's question. If you're painting the tile in a shower, what is the cure time before actually using the shower again? I would say
5 to 7 days.
really and truly to let it kind of cure.
Really to cure, because you want that before you start getting in there and hitting that with your back
Shower hand or
scrubber
whatever, yeah.
yeah, whatever. You just I would wait 5 to 7
So,
days.
Nora, I would be taking a bath. So, which I'm a bath person anyway. All right, so this is one thin coat. Hold it to kind of see where they can see. Look at the sheen on this. It's absolutely glorious.
And it keeps that
And
after
it
dries.
keeps that sheen. This is not a situation to where it's just because it's wet paint. And this is 2 coats. Now I want to hold these side by side. Can you see? I'm going to shake mine. I've got with 2 coats. Jean is 1. Put that down here just a little bit more so they can see. So here's your first coat right here. Here's your first coat. And your second coat is right here. So it allows you to be able to see the sheen. It's absolutely glorious.
And see the coverage that the second coat gives.
Yes.
You don't have that
Haziness of the brown
that
underneath.
beige coming through.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. All right, so yes, Gretchen, can you paint floors? The answer is yes, but here's the caveat. This is a very slick surface. It's yes, you can use it on floors. I actually love putting lacquer on wood floors. I just think it's a great look. We're going to be going into painted floors in week 4 in this series. So that way we will be addressing this. But yes, you just have to make sure that you don't want to get water on ceramic tile like this, and it can be slippery. You've got to make sure that you've got rugs and things down, but you can absolutely paint tile floors. Look at that. The sheen is insane. All right, so now I want to show you something that we have, we've put it on sale today. It is uh, buy one, get one free. And we have these one-time use stencils that allow you to be able to create decorative tile like we've got here. And they are buy one, get one free. So they're 50% off on these stencils. And we've also put our Mylar stencils on sale as well. All right, so Jean, I may let you do this. Let me see with hold on. So I'm going to pull this away. Did you just laugh?
No.
All right, so I'm removing this from the back. Again, can you use Mylar? Yes, you can. But when you're working with a Mylar stencil, you've got to be careful and you don't thin the paint down because it will make it too thin. You just need to use it straight. Now, can you glaze tile? Jean, you want to answer that question?
Absolutely.
So if you want to get a mottled look to your tile and make it look like it's been hand glazed, you can absolutely do that. All right, so now I'm just going to set this adhesive stencil down. It's like once you set this down, you can't move it. So I've got it off skew just a little bit. And I'm going to take a squeegee and just kind of press it in so that way it's, I really should have laid this down and rolled it down just for those of you that are watching. So you can use, those of you that probably have Cricuts and you've created one-time use stencils like this, the Cricuts would be perfect. The versatility that you can use, I'll let you kind of remove that since you're, the versatility that you have in being able to download a design. I don't know if you have looked into this, but a lot of decorative tiles will run anywhere from $8 to $12 a tile, upwards. Sometimes I've seen them for $18. And you can go in and create multiple colors with this. It's very easy to work with. And 1 quart of the Luxe Lacquer is going to cover about 130 square feet. So if you're looking and doing maybe if you have tile countertops in your kitchen, probably 1.5 quart is all you're going to need to be able to do your entire countertops in your kitchen. If you've got a backsplash in your kitchen, 1 quart of the Luxe Lacquer is really all you're going to need. But let's say you want to be able to go in, and normally if you're doing decorative tile, you don't want all of the tile to be the design. So one thing that we're showing you is how to create this modeled look design. So you would want this to be mixed in with just white tiles. That gives you kind of a visual pause. So you're not going to do all the tiles like this. This might be every other one. It might be every 3, depending on what the configuration is of your tile. But I love mixing this with the white. And
Getting there.
you're getting there.
Getting there.
So tell folks what you're doing.
So no, I'm not pulling straight up. I'm pulling this back. And that way it allows the stencil to stay on the surface. And it makes it a lot easier too to peel these loose ends on the edge.
The advantage of working with these adhesive stencils is that it's stuck to the ceramic. You want to make sure that your base coat has dried a good 24 hours before you lay the adhesive stencil on. And this has it to where it foolproofs what it is that you're doing. You're not dealing with Mylar. If you've worked with Mylar before, that's great. And they are easy to work with, but you have to be a lot more careful. I like working with these adhesive one-time stencils. And it allows me to be able to kind of go in, roll my paint around on it, and then I pull it up, which we're getting ready to show you.
You want to really go back and burnish this because any areas that are lifted, you're going to get paint underneath those areas. But there is a solution to fix that as well, but you just want as little of that as possible.
All right, so I'm going to hold this up. I want you to be able to see what it looks like with the stencil on top of the tile. So we've got 2 coats of our brilliant white as our base coat. We allowed it to dry overnight. Then we've laid our stencil down on top of it. And now we're going to come back. Let's show everybody the blue that we're working with. Remember the name?
I'll give it to you.
Can you see?
Mississippi Moonlight.
Mississippi Moonlight. This is a beautiful, beautiful blue. But here's what I want you to see. See how solid and thick this color is? It's a really, really pretty blue. But see how mottled it is? This is what we're going to show you. This is what's going to make it look like it's been more hand glazed. All right. Also, you can do solid colors if you like the idea of having just the navy, the Mississippi Moonlight, in a solid blue tile.
Let's make a nice, that'll be a real impact.
Would be really, really pretty. And you can actually mix that with the white too. All right.
Okay. So again, we just want to check, make sure we've got.
Guys, as you pop on here, be sure and tell us your name. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Hey, Lou, you just joined in. Be sure and share this video. Tag some good friends that you know that are DIYers and that would enjoy this whole I Hate My Kitchen series. And when you share, your name goes in for a drawing, and we'll be announcing the winner of the drawing on Monday afternoon. And then we send out free product to the winner. So we say sharing is caring.
Looking pretty good. Want to make sure we got all the lint and stuff off of that.
Hey, Charlotte from Pensacola, you're not too far from us. We're in Santa Rosa Beach. Hey, Leanne. All right, so
all I'm doing, and I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this. I'm going for coverage, but not pressure. At least not yet.
all right, so before, when we were putting on our first coat, we were really careful about not putting on too much, making sure that we don't roll too fast because we don't want to have bubbles.
True.
How is that different this time when we're telling them we're going to do the whole process of our design with only 1 coat?
Right. Because with what Amy's going to show you, the technique, you don't need 2 coats. But you want to get an even coverage. You don't want to leave anything not painted, but it doesn't have to be thick. Matter of fact, because we're using a stencil, you don't want it thick.
But the fact that you're working with an adhesive stencil, it does allow you the grace. That way it's not going to bleed because this is adhesive.
Well, that's if you get it burnished.
Right. Make sure you burnish it.
If you
So
burnish
it
it so it doesn't. So I'm just going to go back.
You've got a little bit of white showing through. Here's the other thing. When you start out with a brilliant white as your base coat, you can come on top of this with different colors. Maybe you want to do an orange, you want to do a yellow, maybe you want to do some fun decorative tile in your child's shower. I know we're not talking about bathrooms, but you can do this. You can do this in your shower area. Decorative tiles are so expensive, and this is just a fun, easy way of creating an artistic bathroom, which painted tiles, colors, and designs like this are big, big, big. It's very much on trend. All right, so now as you're working on each tile, you're going to want to work. I've got gloves on.
No, but I want to see it for just a second.
Okay.
So because you're working with cotton rag, we want to make sure all the lint. So we want to see all that stuff.
Yes.
We don't want that in our paint.
That's a good word.
So
all right,
shake
so
it down.
Make sure that you work with a lint-free rag. You don't want to get lint in your paint. Jean, as far as their rollers, what
Mhm.
would you suggest? You do need to work with a foam roller.
You know, the favorite roller I like is a roller cover is it's a foam, and they call it a flock, Flock. I like using that, but I do like the foam rollers as well. So if I can't find the flock, I go to just the regular foam.
All right, so now, again, we're working with an enamel. So we've got a little bit of time, but what you noticed, I did not, you have made, you're frozen in place. Are we frozen? Can you guys see me? Just if you can, somebody can just let me know in the comments. Can you see us?
Well, we're watching it.
Yeah, I'm watching it, so I'm hoping we're okay. All right, so we've just put on one coat of our color. So now I'm going to come back with I'm good. All right, where you can see me. Good deal. All right, so this is a lint-free rag. If you have some rags, wash them. We're not working with cheesecloth. We don't want texture. We just want something that's going to act as a negative tool to be able to pull this away. So I've got it modeled so we're seeing depth. That's what we're going for on this. All right, so now I'm just going to come in, and I did go on and put on some gloves. And the process that we're doing is used a lot actually by the Italian ceramic makers when they're doing this. It's a glazing process. They're pulling out base colors, which is our brilliant white, which was our first coat. So I don't need it to be all perfect. Actually, the more depth that it has, the more variance, the more it's going to look like an old painted tile. So if you don't want to be able to do an art pattern, you can also just glaze the tile. And we'll show you how to do that too. All right. So now got a little bit of a hot spot right here. Now, once you've done, no. Once you've done this process that you're taking it off, and you think that you've got one area that's just got a little bit more than others, don't go back in and start adding paint. It's going to double process. This is just one coat of my color. So I'm just going to kind of go in and feed that a little bit. In actuality, when I'm looking at all my tile, I think it'll be fine. All right, so now let's go on and start removing that. It's like I literally enjoy doing projects so I can just experience this. It's kind of addictive, isn't it?
Mhm.
Guys, as you pop on here, please say hey, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if you'll ask your questions, that way we can answer them on here. So yes, I know, I do too. Susan, thank you for sharing. All right, so the stencil that we're showing you here that we've actually just for today, just for those of you that are going to watch, you're going to hear this. But we've got these stencils that are one-time use stencils. They are 50% off. So you can order several of them depending on how many decorative tiles you want to be able to create. When you are doing decorative tiles that have art on it like this, not every tile is going to be the art. So you're going to want to be, oh, thank you. You're going to have a mixture of either coming back and doing your darker tiles with it, or you'll have your white tiles. So that's going to give you, here's one. So you'll see as far as putting these together and having these more as focal points, especially those of you that are Cricut masters and that you do a lot with your Cricut. You can actually come in and create a mural on your backsplash in your kitchen and do it in colors like this. You can mix them, you can model them. Now this is the one that we just did. I want to hold this up. See that little area over here that was bothering me? You don't even see that now. Can you see the depth? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's crazy. Look at the sheen. This is going to stay this shiny. That sheen is not going to go away. And you can definitely do this in your showers. Yes, only once. So we rolled it on top of our brilliant white after it dried. We put the stencil on, but we only did one coat. And then that way I modeled it off with my lint-free rag, and it gave me the depth of that color. Look at that. So that way it looks like it's been done artistically. It's really, really pretty. And it's very easy to work with. Now here's one that we had done. Can you hold that? I think about little girls' rooms, and being able to do more in a periwinkle. Now we actually did use our tri-mesh stencil with this, but if you want to be able to use a stencil over and over again, you'll want to work with a Mylar. Um, and you just want to make sure that you don't thin the paint down and just experiment with it. Isn't it? Thank you, Julie. Yes. Awesome. I'm glad you love that. All right. So, Jean, before we finish, let's just show them how, if they want to be able to model the tile.
Mhm.
Take advantage, guys, of the discount code today. It's I hate my kitchen, IHMK20, and you can get the Lux Lacquer. Here's the cool thing. You can buy, I hope the person that hates the color of their toilet paints their toilet. Because this would be such an easy transformation for you, and go, I will tell you, we went to Restore. Restore has tiles. So that way, if you can get the size of the tiles that you're going to be working with there, and then that way experiment and know exactly what color that you love. And that way it's like you'll execute it. I always do my sample first, and then that way I'll do what I'm going to do on my project. So what would you clean this painted tile? So you can easily use, I would not use a scrubby abrasive um, uh, cleaner on your tile. I would probably,
Just use a cloth and some liquid detergent, some dishwashing.
to clean it.
Use a dish like Dawn or
Because
something.
here's the other benefit. When you paint your tile, you're going to also be painting the grout. The grout, believe it or not, is going to be easier to keep clean, and you're not going to have as much difficulty with mold with this. All right, so can you come over here so that way they can see you mixing that? All right, so we've done one of our little tiles in our base coat. What is this color?
Hole in one.
Hole in one. And we're going to show you as far as mixing two colors so that way you can do an overglaze on top of it, kind of like what we did with our art here.
All right, so we're going to take the hole in one.
I'm going to move it up just a little bit more.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hit the target.
Gretchen, the Lux Lacquer does have a UV protectant in it, and you can use it on your front door. I think because we painted our bathroom, I think we did a live and y'all were able to see that. Tell Gretchen and those that are going to be watching, if they want to use the Lux Lacquer on a door, what was the biggest thing that you learned?
Again, keep the coats thin. When the bathroom doors that we did upstairs at our house, there was the recessed panels, and so I had to use a brush, a trim brush, to get inside those recesses to trim out. And then I used a roller for the flat areas for the frame and then the panels. And again, I made sure that I kept it thin, and I made sure that I worked quick, because what happens is when you trim, and if you trim everything and go back and start rolling out the flat areas 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes later, that starts to dry and it's going to leave a raised area. So I made sure that all the trim area was still wet
When you cut
when I
into it.
cut into it with a brush when I rolled it out.
But these do make fabulous doors.
So what I'm doing, I'm making about a 50-50 mix of the hole in one and was it Mississippi Midnight?
Moonlight.
Moonlight, Mississippi Moonlight.
So this is if you want to be able to create a glaze to be able to go over it.
And then
Got a spoon?
mix these up.
We're showing you the versatility with this, and when you're creating hand painted tiles, is really, really beautiful. And I'm like, that pink and green, the 60s, yes. No, if you're going to be painting tile, Tommy, you do not have to use the primer. The primer is only intended to cut out primarily on wood, so that way you don't have the unevenness and the absorbency to it. But when you're working with ceramic tiles, like we are today, there's no need to do the primer.
Ceramic, porcelain, sealed, as long as it's been
Yes.
sealed.
And you can use it on floors. The caveat is this is a very, very glossy finish. So if you do use it on floors, it might not be a bad idea to do some type of slip resistant, put some rugs
Clear.
down,
Yeah.
because we don't want you slipping and falling when it gets wet.
All right, now next I'm gonna add, let's just say I used 1 ounce of the green, 1 ounce of the blue. Now what I'll use, I would do 2 ounces, so it's 1 to 1 to 2. 1 part green, 1 part blue, and about 2 parts glaze. Or excuse me, mineral spirits, which we're creating a glaze with it.
And so here's part of this. If you're wanting to do this process as far as a glaze, you will need to, you can't do it on a vertical surface. It's going to be really, really hard. You could do this on a floor
Well, you could with practice.
with practice.
With
Okay.
practice,
All
because
right.
it's gonna tend to run.
Do you want a sponge brush for that?
It's the.
Just to apply it,
Yeah,
you don't care?
yeah, the applicator's not important because we just want to make sure it's applied. You could even roll that on if you wanted to. But we do want it even.
And again, the whole point in doing this is a lot of people don't realize that they can glaze a tile. If you want to be able to give it depth, like Gina's going to show you again, please make sure that you get all the lint out of your rags that you're working with.
And what I'm gonna do, you see how we're leaving a pattern because of the way that the rag is folded. So what I'll do is go back and fold it over to create a different pattern and go back over it because we don't want it to look like it's been stamped.
So that way we're just modeling it. But in this instance, again, when you're doing a glaze, usually one time will take care of it. But if you want it to be darker and you want it to have more depth, then you could do a second glaze. Just make sure that the glaze dries overnight before you do the second coat. That's pretty. Seeing this, if I hold this up that way, can y'all see? Can you see as far as what the depth looks like if you want to be able to glaze your tiles? Can I see that? So one thing, when I went to Restore yesterday, and I actually saw some really good looking ceramic lamps, and I thought, I've got to come back here. I was on a tile mission, but I've got to come back here. Can you see that? Look at that. Look at the depth. I hold that with a glare. So pretty. So you can do, if you want pops of color right now, it's really, really big in ceramic lamps that you can totally paint old lamps that you see, metal, brass. You can paint that with the Lux Lacquer. We just love that when you're redoing your kitchen and you want to be able to have a great look, you don't want to spend a fortune, you don't want to tear the tile out. It's great that you can come in and paint it like this and it can look beautiful. All right, so I'm going to hold this. I want to come up. All right, so ta-da! It really is easy. I think the main thing that I want them to know is the fact that don't roll it too fast. It will create bubbles.
Or too heavy.
Or too heavy. Put on too thin coats. I promise you're going to be really happy with how it's going to look. When you get that ugly tile and you just paint the white on top of it, you're going to think you died and gone to heaven because it's so pretty.
Oh, well, lost my train of thought. I looked at you and I go, wow.
What's your train of thought? What were you going to say?
I'll think of it in a second.
Okay. So don't think that you've got to tear out your tile. All you have to do is paint it with a Lux lacquer. Paint the grout too.
I remember.
Okay.
Sorry. Go to your Goodwill, Habitat, Restore, wherever, and go buy some sample tile to practice.
Yes.
Please don't use your actual backsplash, your shower as your experiment, because you do not want to mess that up and then go into a big hoopla of having to fix it. So just get some samples, practice, do some different ways, because you may do the fourth or fifth technique that you try may be the one you
That
like
you love.
better than the first one.
Yes.
So do some practicing first.
And here's the deal. All you have to do, 1 quart of the Lux lacquer is going to cover 130 square feet. So that way, buy 1 quart, test it. That way, get your color that you love. And even if you want to just be able to go in and go with the white, that would be a major transformation. But cost wise, you're really only looking at probably 2 quarts of paint if you wanted to be able to do a shower. And I know we're not on bathrooms, we're on kitchens, but that's 260 square feet. That's going to be ample for you to be able to do your shower. Just make sure that you allow it to dry 24 hours in between coats. This is an enamel, and it's going to be cleaned with paint thinner to clean your brush. This is not a water-based product, but it is a very, very durable product that is transformative. And the primer, the paint, and the sealer is all in one when you're working on ceramic. So awesome. I hope today's been helpful. Please be sure and share this video, tag some good friends. Your name will go in for a drawing, and take advantage of the 20% off that we have of the Lux lacquer and the 50% off on the stencils that we showed you today.
BOGO.
And yes, we've got a BOGO. And then next week in our schedule, we're going to be doing countertops. So stay tuned for that. Be sure and share it with a friend that they can tune in, and that maybe you offer, I'll come help you do your kitchen if you'll help me do mine. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hopefully the snow will start melting in your neck of the woods, because we're not too far from spring.
Couple months.
We're close. We're close. Have a great day, everybody. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.